like pinpoint it down, but I think they're like maybe there should be more discussion.
Okay, this is where I stand though. I am very much a markets matter person, and I'm very much a wisdom of the crowds person vis-a-vis, and I don't know. I think the issue is, and JT, wisdom of the crowds matters and is accurate when the crowd consists of many independent thinkers, right? And that's why the Chris Sims. So we had Chris on, and people gave us flack for basically being nice to him about his rankings. I thought that was a great conversation.
Yeah.
I don't agree with all, but the thing is you know what Chris Sims offers? An independent.
We were there to learn.
It doesn't even have to be all that informed. I'm not saying Chris isn't informed, but the wisdom of the crowds works because of the law of large numbers and a bunch of independent individuals. The issue, and this is true about a lot of things like media consolidation, all that kind of stuff. When you go with the group, the wisdom of the crowds decreases because there isn't that many people in the crowd anymore. You got one big ball of people that all believe the same thing, and then you have a few independent thinkers, but your sample size is a lot smaller. So I appreciate the wisdom of the crowds, but I wonder sometimes if in the draft world it is violated. And so that's why I am not quick to judge somebody who says, I like Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence, fight me. I'm like, if you do, and frankly, our numbers kind of like Zach Wilson over Trevor Lawrence. But at the same time, I do have some respect for the market, and the market has been this way for a long time. So I'm conflicted. I do think if Lawrence went, I would not be offended. But if Wilson went first or Fields, I wouldn't be all that offended.
See, I think it's violated by the draft crowd, and here's why. For a lot of people that cover the draft and are draft focused, this is their rankings are really important. And we've seen this in our own company where you kind of got to decide where you're going to take your stance, okay? Because at the end of the day, where you feel differentiated is like, okay, I had this guy higher than anyone else, and look, he was really good. And I think it really comes down to a lot of people going, you know what? If I was judging this, completely without any, bias or out knowing anything else about what other people felt, I would have a different order. But that's not where I'm going to stake my claim. I'm not that confident that I want to be the one guy who was respected, didn't have Trevor Lawrence number one, and then Trevor Lawrence is great, and I am toasted.
You're also
for the rest
talking
of my
about
career.
why a lot of coaches don't go for it on 4th down and 3 from their own 40, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to stray so far from the norm, even if it's positive EV, that I am fired. I'd rather dump expected value consistently.
I'd rather be the same as everyone else.
And keep my job for as long as possible. I will say this, and this is an interesting thing, when it comes to betting the draft, when it comes to analyzing the draft. I do know people in the league who think I do know people who think Justin Fields is like not a first round pick. Like it's one of those where I do believe that within the NFL, there are people who are independent. I think that's part of their job. Like they don't listen to us during this time. Like they don't watch media. They might consult with us for B2B stuff and all that stuff, but they don't watch NFL Network. They don't right. know who Daniel Jeremiah has. They don't know who Todd McShay has. That is their job. And so it is why the draft is so the actual draft is unpredictable, because these teams have boards that are so much different than the consensus boards. If we could get our hands on those and simulate the thing out, I do think we would predict the draft a lot better than, and Benjamin Robinson actually does a really good job with public mocks. But I think we could do even better, I think, if we had independent mocks from within teams, just because I do think that is the place where, for better or worse, independence is still achieved.